Hello, it's Ken. Thank you for watching. We're on the subject of fasting today. We're in Romans chapter 14, and we'll look at a couple verses. Verse 1, Him that is weak in the faith receive ye, but not to doubtful disputations. For one believeth that ye may eat all things, another who is weak eateth herbs. We're going to jump down to verse 5 now. One man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. And so we keep eating in the matter of fasting a conscience issue. In other words, I'm not saying that what I believe, my way is the only way. I'm not saying that at all. You have to determine what works best for yourself. We all have our own different kind of like constitution about our body, and our metabolisms are all different. Now the idea about fasting, if you'll come to Psalms 109, verse 24, my knees are weak through fasting, and my flesh faileth of fatness. The idea about fasting, a true fast, will reduce the amount of the flesh. It's a failure of the flesh. It says, my knees are weak through fasting. When you fast, starting out, you basically put your stomach asleep. And when your stomach goes to sleep, when it first does that, it doesn't feel too good. It's not a very pleasant experience. A lot of times your head will spin. My first time fasting, I fasted all day and through the night, and woke up the next morning. My head was spinning, and I really felt weak. And this verse, my knees are weak through fasting, would be very applicable to my first fast. My first fast, I fasted a whole day and through the night. Next day was really weak, and I started back eating again the next day. And it was the beginning of some victories in my life. At that time, I was kind of like putting on some weight. And then after that, I started fasting every Sunday for like 6 months, approximately, something like that. But there's all kind of ways of doing it. And there's all kind of ways of looking at the subject of fasting. And we're all different. There's two extremes in the Bible regarding body size. You've got fat and you've got pine. If you're like extremely skinny, or your body's getting smaller and smaller, over in Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 39, and they that are left of you shall pine away in the iniquity of your enemies' lands, and also in the iniquities of their fathers shall they pine away with them. And that's basically your body's getting like a pine tree. It's getting real thin and real small. Myself, I try to keep a balance there. I don't go off the deep end on weird diets and things like this afternoon. I'm going out for a hamburger and fries. I eat normal just like anybody else. I just don't eat as much, and I'm more timely about when I eat. I usually eat like a couple of meals a day and then coffee in the morning. If you're serious about fasting, I would, if you plan on going through some serious fast, I would get some counsel from a qualified physician, a doctor, if you're really going to go at this and try to lose some weight. It wouldn't hurt to touch base with your physician. In the Bible, in Ecclesiastes, it talks about eating for strength. The idea about eating food is to eat it for strength. It says in Ecclesiastes 10, verse 15, the labor of the foolish weareth every one of them, because he knoweth not how to go to the city. Verse 16, woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child, and thy princes eat in the morning. And then it says, verse 17, blessed art thou, land, when thy king is the son of nobles, and thy princes eat in due season for strength and not for drunkenness. Here in the context of verse 16, it's talking about people that are eating in the morning. They're excessively eating. They don't really need to eat that morning meal. Now, I'm not saying that it's for everybody. You might have a situation where you didn't eat the night before, or maybe you need some more food for your strength or something like that because of your job or whatever. I'm not saying the Bible teaches you can't eat breakfast. But in the context here it says, woe unto thee, O land, when thy king is a child, and thy princes eat in the morning. So it's warning about eating in the morning. And so, looking at this thing about fasting, if you skipped like one day. You didn't eat meals for one day. There's like, if you're eating 3 meals a day, that's like 3 times 7 is 21 meals per week. If you skipped one day, like if you skipped Sunday or something like that, that would be minus 3 meals. That would equal 18 meals per week. Excuse me. Or if you was to skip eating breakfast during the week, just skip eating breakfast, that would be subtracting 7 from that. So you would have 14 meals per week. That's the equivalent of eating that's the equivalent of fasting 2 days. A little bit more than that. That's the equivalent of fasting 2 days during the week, if that's been your standard of eating 3 meals per day. And it's a start. It's just a start. You could, if you want to approach it that way, instead of going cold turkey with a full day fast, you could like move that midday meal just a little bit earlier into the day. Make it kind of a brunch, something like that, and then still eat that afternoon meal, and just skip the breakfast. We encourage people to drink liquids. We don't encourage people to give up liquids all the way at any point during the fast. We don't do that. And the fast you see in the Bible, like you see Christ fasting for 40 days. There's fasting in the Bible for long extended periods, and these are supernatural fasts. I wouldn't encourage anybody to give up on the liquids all the way. I wouldn't encourage them at all. If you're fasting like 1 day, 2 days, myself, I got up to like 4 days. I fasted all the way through 4 days. But during that time, I did drink some liquids. I don't encourage anybody to give up on the liquids. Your body really needs liquids. It's not in the Bible. Those are supernatural fasts. They could fast all the way without anything. But in our particular case, I think that we need liquids through our fast. And so if you're fasting like a whole day, I would encourage you to drink some liquids in the day. Just, solid food, I'd forget that for a day. Or if you're fasting, maybe you're just knocking off 1 meal per day, through the week. I would encourage you to still drink liquid that morning, whether it be a hot cup of coffee or, something like that. Hot tea or even orange juice, or, I wouldn't go off the deep end. I'd try to keep some balance there. But the thing is this, after you fast a whole day, like if you miss all 3 meals, your stomach's going to really be bubbling at you and growling at you, and you're going to get a headache. But what happens is the stomach will go to sleep. Your stomach will go to sleep, and then like the next day, when it comes time to eat, your stomach will give you some signals that it's hungry, and your head might spin a little bit. And if you don't eat again, then basically you put that stomach to sleep. And then usually about that 3rd day, you're not going to feel that sensation. We're all different, maybe you will, but if you're fasting out, for a few days, then you'll get that stomach put to sleep, and you won't have that giant craving that you usually have. Now in Ecclesiastes, it talked about not for drunkenness, and food can make you food drunk. I've seen kids eat that were food drunk. I've seen adults eat that they went through a buffet and sat down on the couch, and they were out cold sleeping on the couch. They basically passed out from overeating. They're drunk with food. I don't mean they're drunk like they can't talk or something like that. I mean like they're drunk and they've lost their alertness, and they kind of like fall asleep, that kind of thing, real easy. Over in Isaiah 58, verse 6. Is not this the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke? Verse 7, is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house? In other words, don't eat all your food, give it to somebody else. When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh. Verse 8, then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go forth before thee. The glory of the Lord shall be thy reward. Basically, in the context here, fasting affects your health. Thine health shall spring forth speedily. Probably in the case here is somebody that's been excessively eating, and little bit overweight, that kind of thing, and they need to basically cut back, and it helps their health. Adults can get food drunk. Adults can get food drunk. They can overeat and get spaced out where they can't think straight. I would encourage you, if that's your situation, to either cut back on how much you're eating, or pick out one day a week and fast. And if you're going to do that, if you're going to fast a whole day or longer, I would encourage you just to touch base with your doctor. It never hurts to get some counsel from a doctor. I do want to encourage you to drink liquids. I also want to encourage you not to go off the deep end. Keep some balance in this. Eat good, wholesome foods, and I won't say what that is. Just keep a balance there. And I'm not saying go on a weird diet. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying you got to hang out at a health food store and just buy their products. I'm not saying that at all. And myself, I'm not extremely fat, and I'm not a pine tree. I'm kind of like in the balance there. I know some people think that I'm concentration camp skinny, but I've got a lot of body fat. I'm just not what you normally see. Like in the USA, there's obesity everywhere you go. Just everywhere you go, in the public schools, and everywhere you go in the malls, and you look at people from the USA on Facebook. I mean, just big people. There's a lot of obesity in the USA. And myself, I made that decision. I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to do that. And so I try to keep my dieting and my way of eating in balance for me. And believe me, I can eat. I can eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. But I have just purposely made the decision I'm not going to do that. Myself, I'm eating 2 meals a day and just a beverage in the morning, that kind of thing. Maybe, and sometimes in the afternoon, maybe a little small snack, maybe some chocolate or something like that. It's all in balance. If I think that I'm getting too big, or usually myself, if I go out of balance in my diet, my stomach, I can tell my stomach feels enlarged. I have that pregnant feeling. I feel like my gut is kind of like moving out a little bit on me there. That's my signal I need to cut back. I never want my gut to feel like it's sticking out or something like that. And when I eat, go out and eat, I'm full, I'm satisfied. If I do a buffet, I go to the buffet one time and one time only. And I'll put everything I need on that plate one time. Buffets are real popular in the USA. I'm not going to go back over and over and over again. Just one plate. And then a lot of times eating out, they give you so much food, if you're not going in a buffet and they bring you a lot of food, I ask for something to go. I'll ask for just a to-go plate or something and take some of that food and put it in there and take it home with me and put it in my refrigerator. Save it for later or something like that. Sometimes when you eat out, they give you so much food, you can basically make 2 meals out of it, So these are just some ideas about fasting. Also remember that everybody has different metabolism. I think some people, and their genetics, they're more designed for living up in the north. They're just designed to take food and their body just really expands, balloons out with the little food that they eat. I know people, now I'm small, I'm not a pine tree, but I'm small. I know people that are big that eat less than me. I know that. And so their metabolism is a lot different. They digest real heavily what they eat, and the body stores it. And I think in God's design for creation and humanity, I think they're probably more comfortable living up in the north because the weather's colder, and they got more body fat, and they can deal with the temperature better with more body fat. Myself, as small as I am, I don't like extreme cold conditions. I don't like that. I don't think I could survive in Alaska or northern Canada or someplace like northern Russia or somewhere like that. I don't think I'd be very comfortable there, because I'm small. I don't have that insulation factor, in my body. I think we're all different genetics-wise, and metabolism is different like that. And so these are just some things to consider about dieting and fasting. And again, we consider a Romans 14 issue as a conscience issue. We're not saying our way is the only way. Just something to think about. These are just some ideas that you can consider to maybe help yourself if you have some issues with gaining too much weight, something like that. Well, hope this video has been a blessing to you. Thank you very much for watching.